Go to it.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Code Enforcement Board regular meeting on Wednesday. Oh, wait a second. That is not the right date. Today is
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
April
What am I looking at here? Okay, I knew this was from the last meeting, the Ides of March. Tuesday, today is Tuesday, the 11th, 4/11. 4/11. And please silence all cell phones. And Mrs. DeHart is going to call the roll, please.
Member La Sorsa,
Here.
Member Pearlman,
Here.
Member Axelrod,
Here.
Member Murray,
Here.
Chairperson Schlam.
Here,
For the record, Member Turbini and Vice Chairperson Perlow are absent.
we will all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda. Everyone had a look at it. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries, approval of the agenda. We now have swearing in of the public. For those giving testimony related to the case you're affiliated with, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn. Mrs. DeHart, please swear in those giving testimony.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated.
We now have a public comment limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If anybody wishes to address this board, not about your specific case, but just about code enforcement issues in general, then you can. Okay. We now have approval of minutes. March 15th, 2023. Are there any corrections to the minutes of March 15th, 2023? Hearing none. May I have a motion to approve the minutes March 15th, 2023?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, now we have some unfinished business. Just a couple cases here. First one is case number CC 2022-09-007. Delray Florida Properties LLC. That's the Bird Beach lot. And what was this? It was storm drainage causing a nuisance. So I refer this to, it says to refer this to the town attorney.
Yeah, I was just going to give a little.
Okay.
So the order at issue was entered back in February. There was a finding of a violation, a compliance date of April 1st, or a fine of $250 a day. And there's also administrative costs, the amount of $250 were assessed. So in order to, the order itself provides a mechanism where the person can challenge the actual recordation of the lien. It's not a rehearing of the case. We're not rehearing the violation. The order stands. But if the property owner has an objection to it be recorded as a lien, my understanding is the property is in compliance, correct?
Correct.
So the only way a lien would be filed is if the administrative costs were not paid, which have not been paid, correct?
Correct. I checked this morning, they still were not paid.
So I believe that's the substance of what is being challenged is the administrative costs.
Is the offender here? Okay, hi,
I'm just here.
what's your name, sir?
I'm sorry, my name's Tom Giuliano. I'm the property owner through Delray, Florida Properties. I had that house for 17 years. I've lived here. I understand I had to find, we went in and did a rehabilitation of the entire driveway and got a permit to do that. And actually nothing was said about the drainage. So it was just sheer luck that the town said, hey, by the way, you have to do this new drainage system because we could have installed a new driveway without it. So we did it. But I mean, along that entire stretch, all these homes have the same issue. And my feeling is I got the fine in February. I was under construction. It was a very expensive drainage. We had to have it designed with an engineer. We had to stop the driveway. It was over $30,000 or $40,000, maybe even more. And we did it and it's all done. And I just didn't understand the $250. That's the only reason. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I happened to be here. I kind of was off this week and I just thought I'd come down, say hello, and just didn't really understand the $250 because we did do it and we didn't understand, like, we didn't get it done in time, but it was just it was brand new. We only had it in February and we were doing construction. So we just couldn't get the material and get it in. So that's the only reason I'm here. I mean, like I said.
So just by way of explanation, the statute provides that if the town demonstrates a violation of the town code, that the town is entitled to recover its prosecution costs. Generally, the board always imposes those costs every time there's a violation unless there's some sort of extenuating circumstances. There have been very few instances. There have been a couple where it was completely beyond the control of a property owner, but statutorily, the town's entitled to those costs.
I just would say it took us really that too long to get the material. You know, I don't know if you guys are aware of materials and pipes and everything else. We literally had to stop the installation and try to wait for the material. So maybe that's, you know, our cause. I mean, it is done. And like I said, I've been a resident for 17 years. It's not the end of the world.
There's no fine here, right?
No, I think,
I guess I was thinking it was a fine.
I think to explain to you, it's like if you go to court for a speeding ticket, if you may get off on the speeding ticket, but you'll still charge court costs.
All right.
And that's what this $250.
That was a good,
Yes.
Mr. Axelrod, that was a good analogy.
Thank you.
You say that when you went and got the original permit, they didn't tell you about the drainage?
Correct. And that was another reason I was really confused.
Well, I
You already did.
think I remember that our code enforcement officer said that just about all those driveways
Well, that's
Need.
true.
this kind of repair, and they can't do anything unless someone files a complaint against the neighbor, which I guess just doesn't happen very often.
So I guess there's the gentleman across the street's doing construction and, you know, big storm came. Like I said, wow, I've been here 17 years. I never knew this was an issue. That's why I was a little miffed because I had a permit for a whole new driveway and no one brought it up. And I was like, holy cow, thank goodness this got brought to our attention before we put the new driveway in. The other residents, I guess if you find them, they would have to rip up their driveways to do it. So I just happened to be doing that and I'm glad to comply, but I just felt the 250, I just felt it was like, wow, I'm getting, you know, I'm fixing this issue. Every driveway along has the issue. What if I wasn't replacing my driveway? I don't even know how I would do it. I'd have to rip up my driveway. So my neighbors that are older, that's why I felt that the 250 wasn't fair.
I have a question. Can we reverse our decision?
Sure. Well, I mean, if you want to waive the costs in this case, you can waive the costs in this case. If that's your decision.
Because if we got a permit, they didn't tell me how to do the drainage, when in the middle of the job, here's new work. And then he acquiesces and does everything, what do they punish him?
Is that correct? Asking the code enforcement, is that correct? What he's saying? I just want to make sure.
He's just testifying.
No, I understand. No, I just want to make sure that's correct.
That I'm not part of the permit process, so
Right.
whatever they told him or the contractor, I'm not aware of. I can tell you that I was involved in this case in September of 2022. And nothing moved forward in regard to the drainage until there was a notice of hearing for the February hearing.
Let me ask you this. Who told you that it was a drainage?
I received a complaint.
Me.
Correct. I'd have to check which one. And then I went out there and the building official was out there and we observed the violations.
Okay. So that means if you take the dates, this man tried to do his best to do what we required. Then they came up with, well, here's the thing you have to do that's more than that. I don't think he should be punished.
So Adam, you've told us, I think before that unless someone makes a complaint, these driveway issues are not going to be resolved.
Correct.
And that's why I'm asking the board, like, God forbid I put in this very expensive all new driveway and then Adam came out. I would have been like, oh, I have to rip this up. It would have been thousands and thousands. So I was like, well, thank goodness we just started. So we had the permit before that. And that's why I was saying, I just feel it's like I said, I did stop and I had to hire an engineer, which cost about $5,000 to design it. And then I had to submit it for approval and then I had to order all the pipe. So the whole job stopped for that. And I complied, and that's why I'm saying the 250 to me just seems a little unfair.
That would be correct, except for the fact that this was notified in September and there wasn't anything in progress.
No, we had the permit before that.
No, the permit you did.
You have to be sworn in.
You can't,
All right, this is my contractor.
you're not sworn in. You want to swear him in?
We're gonna swear at you.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Last
Tell-
time I
tell
was
your
here, I
name.
gave you guys.
Step up, please.
Oh, yeah, Richard Jones with Jewel Construction Contractor. When I was here in March, I gave everybody a timeline of what happened. It was when we were notified and the client notified me that he got this notice, we immediately went out to hire an engineer. We got bids, we hired the engineer, he did the design, we submitted it. So he did comply and did follow.
And we had a permit to do the driveway before the issue of the drainage came up. That was why I said, well, why didn't we get approved to put this entire driveway and redo the whole front? If the drains would have got brought up, then we would have designed it that way. That's why I said, thank heaven this happened. And I could do it before the driveway was installed. That's all. I don't need to take a lot of your time, gentlemen. It's, you know, it's not a huge issue, fine. I just felt, hey, this seemed a little unfair to me. Yeah, it just seemed unfair.
Yeah, with all the neighbors, everybody's driving.
Oh, we know that.
Well, I still make that motion.
Okay.
So, yeah, the motion would actually be to uphold the challenge and not file the lien, which essentially,
Yeah, that's all it is upholding the challenge to file a lien,
correct,
right?
correct. So the
So-
motion would be not to file the lien.
So we're not
that people-
withdrawing the court costs or the
Technically,
costs.
I mean, it has the same net effect. We're not going to file the
We're
lien. so
basically saying we're not gonna file a lien, so you pay it if you want. Make a donation or don't. Or you could just pay me off the books. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. That was a joke.
You just did, didn't you?
Well, yeah, you just, no, that's fine. The motion, I understand. So the motion that you want to make is to uphold the challenge and not file the lien.
Just to uphold
So
the
that's the
challenge.
motion.
All those, should we do a roll call on this vote? No?
We don't need,
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Motion
Thank you.
carries.
Take care.
But I just want to say, we should not make a habit out of, reversing old decisions and bringing up, listen, if somebody's not here, he wasn't here. He wasn't, but that's not our problem. Yeah, I think he gave us some more information that we didn't have at the last hearing. So that was good, but I'm just saying, in general, we should not be, making exceptions and waiving costs that we already
Yeah, so-
assessed. Because then everybody will come running in here and we'll be,
yeah, so that,
bad
so
precedent.
these hearings are just for the challenging the recordation of the lien. if somebody really wants to appeal the order, it has to go to
Right.
circuit court.
Circuit
Right.
court,
Yeah.
right?
So after 30 days,
It's like you said, we're not going through the merits of the case again, but in this case, he gave a little additional info, which was good. So we could clear it up.
It's also a
Alright.
situation where we do know that this is not just somebody complained, but they could complain all the way down the line if they
Right.
wanted to.
Bill, they have additional scope. They're gonna be aware of it and do.
Okay, all right.
We hope so.
I think the building department.
okay.
Okay.
Next.
Next case is CC 2022-11-006. AJR Grand Highland Beach LLC. 1006 Lot 6. Let me see what the legal description. Okay, violation was an open permit for the installation of a 40,000-pound 10-post platform boat lift. Are there any ex parte communications that need to be disclosed? At this time, I now open the hearing.
All right, this is case number CC 2022-11-006. I am Adam Osowski, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance Officer, and I've been previously sworn in. The respondent is AJR Grand Highland Beach LLC. The property address is 1006 Grand Court. This case was originally heard at the Code Board hearing on January 10th, 2023. The board ruled that the respondent had 14 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $250 per day would be imposed. The board also charged the respondent a $250 cost of prosecution, which was paid on March 2nd, 2023. On March 3rd, 2023, the respondent notified the town requesting this case be heard so the owner can request a fine reduction. The property was in violation for 31 days after the date set for compliance. As of today, the total fine is $7,750.
$7,750.
Yes, sir.
That's from accumulating.
$250 a day for 31 days.
One where they were supposed to remove.
Correct.
Yes, this one
Yes.
dates back. to
Wait, this is the one with the seven,
This
that
was
that they
10
challenged?
feet. Yeah, the
This
10
was
feet.
originally that Mr. Touche's property before I started.
Yes.
And then we have the new owner that
I
unfortunately
handled this 2
inherited.
years ago.
all of this.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I went to court, it was settled, no, actually.
Yeah, it was settled and then he sold it to the
Then
new
he
property
sold it.
owner
New
that's
prop-
here.
And so now the new property owner is getting hit with the fines? It's the new property.
right, the new property
Right.
owner got hit with the fine. Because the permit had expired and it had to be removed.
And the
Yeah.
settlement was only with the previous owner.
the
not
previous.
owner.
This guy,
Property
didn't- the new guy, he didn't want that pylon there. He didn't want that lift there anyway,
But
right?
it is the new owner.
Well, he's here, so.
It
Yeah,
is
the new owner's here.
They're the appearance.
If you want him to speak to y'all, he's
Yeah.
here.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
He looks familiar.
he was here before.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name's Jerome Ruggiero. I'm the owner of the home on 1006 Grand Court. If I may approach,
Yes. Thanks.
what I've handed out, gentlemen, is very simply one photo of the removal of the boat lift pilings. You can see it in the air there. That photo was taken from my yard. Just a brief history here. I purchased this home a little less than a year ago. And there was prior to my involvement, quite a history between this boat lift, and I'm sure Mr. Rubin is intimately familiar with it. And there was some litigation and, in my opinion, a rather insane place to place a boat lift. I had never had an intention of pulling putting that boat lift in. I simply closed on this property. I'm a snowbird. I live in Michigan half a year. I've been a resident of Boca Raton for 30 years. I closed on this home and I went up north. Last May. There was some communication problems. I was unaware of the intensity of these pile-ins. And when I became aware of them through communication with Mr. Osowski, I agreed to have them removed. I told him that I would remove them. To my surprise, and in fact, I was scheduled to have a Zoom meeting before you at the January, I believe it was January 10th. I had it scheduled, I was on my schedule, I had some health issues in which I could not do that. And that's what led to the problem. I figured that I would deal with this when I came down. I verbalized that I would be removing them due to, and in fact, I forwarded a contract to Mr. Osowski from a company called CTEC that I contracted with for the removal of these pilings. Everybody that I tried to get to remove these pilings, once they found out that there was an open permit with this company, B&M Construction, they refused to do the job. I could not find a contractor from Jupiter to Miami to remove these things.
Why? Why wouldn't they do it?
Because B&M was the original permit holder for Mr. Touche, the previous owner.
Right, right.
They control virtually every barge in South Florida. And other companies used their barges to remove them. So what I did was I finally called the owner of B&M. His name is Mr. Glenn Bryant. I brokered a negotiation between him and Mr. Touche. I got more involved than I wanted to, but Mr. Touche owed him money. He did not pay him, and that's why B&M would not do this job, and that's why everybody that used their barges would not do it. I was kind of caught in the middle here. I wanted to remove them, short of, getting a chainsaw myself and hiring, without, I'm not licensed to do that, but I tried to do everything in my power to get these things out. My neighbors wanted them out. I wanted them out. Once I got Mr. Bryant and Mr. Touche together, and I told Mr. Touche, I basically threatened him with litigation and said that, I'm being fined $250 a day for something that I had was not within my control, that I had no responsibility for. He agreed, him and Mr. Bryant at B&M settled. I guess he paid him half. I'm told he paid him half of what he owed him. Mr. Bryant and I are on great terms. He came out, he removed them the day after I appeared before you. I came here, I think, in mid-February, but I wasn't on the agenda. So the very next day, this is February 15th. They were removed. My neighbors are happy. Everyone on the street is happy. I'm assuming the hundreds of people that live in the high rise behind me are happy.
So they're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
What I'm asking for is a forgiveness or a waiver of the fine. I paid the cost of prosecution.
All right.
I just didn't feel that was within my control. It was not within my control to have these out. I would have taken them out day one.
Were
had I
you
been-
aware of this when you bought the property? I mean, there was actually a court settlement and stuff like that. Were you aware of that when you bought the property?
I was given a set of plans for this boat lift. I was also told by the property seller, as well as the attorney that represented me on the purchase, the acquisition, that I had the right to put this boat lift in. Okay, that there was a consent judgment, that the pilings were reduced to an acceptable level, and
7 feet.
and that I had every legal right to construct this boat lift. The minute I met my next door neighbors, They're from New York. They're wonderful people, Bob and Jerry Verona. We had a cigar together. We had a glass of wine. Welcome to the neighborhood. I looked out their backyard. I said, if the boat lift is constructed there, their property values are in the canal. Not to mention the fact that it just is not a sensible place to put a boat lift.
Yeah.
It obstructs
Okay.
traffic. It obstructs boating traffic in the canal. I have a sport fishing boat that is going to be tucked in on my property line. But where this man wanted to put this boat lift, in my opinion, it almost was done out of spite.
Yeah,
It was because I was chairman of the planning board at that time of the town. And we went through a whole thing and everybody kept telling him that the boat lift should have been on the other side. And it went on till,
I'm not here to
I know,
to trash anyone. I can tell you that I've had my issues with him in our transaction. He sold me a house with a lot of disclosures that were, I bought an 8,000 square foot home full of mold. So
okay, so
I'm
we're,
here-
we're not here to relitigate anything that we did in the past or, overturn anything.
Yes.
It was found that there was a violation. The violation was corrected by the removal, okay? And now you are asking for a forgiveness as far as the daily fine that accumulated to over $7,000. You don't live here. You're here. Are you here full time now? Or no, you're Michigan?
I'm a snowbird. I'm 6 months and 6 months.
Okay. And you were here last month at a hearing? Were you here? Because you look
Not
familiar.
the
right?
March hearing,
Okay.
they would not put me on the agenda. I requested to be on the agenda for March, but I don't think my request was in time. The agenda was already put together. I was here February. I was here for your February meeting.
I mean, my opinion is that this was a situation that this man got himself in, that he had no idea about what he was, he closed on a house. This other guy, we all know what was going on with that
Oh, yeah.
situation, and my feeling is that he's been diligently trying to do whatever he could do, but the company would not come out and do it. And he finally negotiated a deal where they would do it, but that took some time. And it just doesn't seem like it in this case. This is my opinion that this is just it's not really fair. Punishment doesn't fit the crime,
It's the timeliness of it. It's the
What's
issue.
that?
Timeliness is the problem, right? Because when we heard this case, we thought that 30 days was.
I mean,
was plenty.
ultimately, he's responsible because he's the property owner.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's supposed to know that all this stuff, right? I mean, we can't like I just said, we can't be making exceptions for everybody, but in my opinion, this is an exception. I mean,
now, one
Right.
question though. He basically, well, when we were here and last heard it, we gave him X number of days, and I think there was agreement that it could be done in that amount of time.
I think we were told that it was being arranged to be done. So
Right.
we thought 30 days was.
Exactly. I
enough.
don't think we said, we said 14?
I'm sorry.
14 days.
I think it was
Is that
14
what it
days.
was?
Actually, I thought it was 14 days, which maybe.
And so now it's been much longer after that?
The original order was 14 days. And then it took 31 days after that.
Okay.
After the 14 days.
Correct.
But that was while he was going through all this,
All-
this political stuff because of the fact that no other company would do the job because
Correct.
they were, afraid of the other company that basically the giant in the industry.
I
You
didn't
know,
print it off,
and-
but I have an executed copy on my phone. I apologize. I have a contract that I executed with C-Tech on, I can show Mr. Osowski.
I mean, like you said, he couldn't go out there and saw it off himself.
In
He
January,
just-
which would have been before
Would have been within the
would have been before the.
14, would have been within the 14 days.
But they just, when they found out that this permit was in the name of B and M, they just refused to do the job.
But the work was done on February 15th, according to this picture, is that correct?
Yes.
Work was done on February
February
15th.
15th.
So the last month.
So when
to
does,
Fe-
and when does the fine continue till?
Well, the fine stopped running, but February 15th is not 31 days from the compliance date was January 24th.
Correct.
right?
I was out there on another complaint, which had to deal with the mold that was explained earlier. So when I was out there for the mold complaint, that's when I observed that the pilings were removed. Unfortunately, there was miscommunication where I didn't get contacted or been told it was removed on the 14th.
So if we go use February, let's say if we use February 15th, how many days at that point is in arrears? If we use February 15th, rather than,
That I'm gonna have to check.
I mean, what
That's what I'm saying.
I can't make a motion, but I mean, what about like fining them for 7 days instead?
well, that's what I want, we may be
You know,
doing. because
fine,
it
see,
seems
7
to be
days,
maybe less.
It's about 22 days,
22 days old.
24th to the 15th, yeah.
I'll give them 10 days, let's make it, take 10 days off of that. Say 12, and I don't think we can totally.
No, we got, there has to be something. But-
Especially from contractor, he's telling you. What he's saying is so accurate. One guy is like the king of the loose, and he has the barges.
The question is really, do we eliminate it or
How
cut it
many-
back substantially?
Right.
We could cut it in half.
So I would ask for somebody to come up with a motion proposing. A reduction in the fine as far as the amount of days, like maybe 10 days. Maybe 7 days.
One last, if I might, again, I emailed to the building department an executed contract with C-Tech that says removal and disposal of boat lift piles. That date was 1/17/23. That was the date that I had contracted with someone that I found somebody that would do this. And then when they contacted the municipality, they were told that the permit was in the name of B and M, and that's when they would have had to use B and M's
Yeah,
barge.
they didn't want any
And-
part of it.
And they said, no dice.
So
Okay.
assuming February 15th is the date of compliance based on the evidence that the property owner submitted, it would be 5,500 would be the total fine.
Would move to cut it back to 5 days. If anybody. You would cut it.
Minimum you can come up with, I'll agree with you. I don't see how we can control anything.
5 days would be 1,250, 1,250.
Is there a motion?
Okay, I make a motion to cut the fine back to $1,250.
Yeah.
From 5,500.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, you did good.
I'll get it paid tomorrow. I'll get it paid tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you for removing that.
So we're not doing this this city.
I know. Yes, of course, I jinxed us. As soon as I say that, but I mean, seriously, these were two exceptional.
oh, this
Two,
case.
both today's were. Okay, so
I would have sued too soon.
what's this?
I would sue.
Oh, well, that's just a cluster, you know
No,
what?
not, just saying, not us, them.
Okay, so
Simple.
let's get on with new business, right? New business case number CC 2023-01-036. This is Jill Giles. Sounds like another familiar name. 4023 South Ocean Boulevard. The violation alleged is installing new beach access stairs posts without a valid permit issued. I could swear we heard this case before, didn't we? Didn't we?
Something like this.
It's a similar
No,
case,
it's-
but that
I
was a different property for the same thing.
Okay, all right.
Unfortunately, she has been in front of the board for other
She
violations.
had, yes,
Yeah.
I knew that. I recognized the name.
Yes.
Do the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? At this time, I open the violation hearing and turn it over to Mr. Zalski for testimony.
All right, this is case number CC 2023-01-036. My name is Adam Osowski and I've been previously sworn in. The respondent is Joel Giles. The property address is 4023 South Ocean Boulevard. I inspected the property on January 31st, 2023. The violation cited on today's agenda is 30-122A. Install new posts and stairs for beach access without a permit. The notice of violation was served by posting on February 1st, 2023, after certified mail was sent on January 31st, 2023. The respondent was given 14 days to come into compliance. The notice of hearing was served by posting and certified mail sent on March 28th, 2023. Prior to today's hearing, I re-inspected the building records on March 14th, 2023, and the violation has been corrected. I have submitted the following evidence, which includes proof of service, supporting documents, and photographs. The town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation. The town is asking to waive prosecution costs in this case. The reason for it is the permit was obtained, all the fees and penalties were paid. Unfortunately, what held up the permit was there was miscommunication between the town and the state of Florida for the permit. But
So you're withdrawing this, correct?
well, we want the finding of fact that it was in violation and they've since corrected it. We're just requesting the prosecution.
Waiving
costs
the
be
cost
waived.
of prosecution, okay. So we're just finding that there was a violation, the violation was corrected, and no fine, no costs, okay? That will be violation, okay, yes, number 2. Anyone for a motion? Wait, one more thing. Is the offender here? No,
No,
she's not on Zoom, so she's
No,
not here.
I've had contact with the contractor and they weren't planning on showing up
Okay,
because everything's in compliance.
all right. Motion,
Motion, I move that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, but is now in compliance. And then do not repeat order be issued.
no, we don't need a do not repeat. Do we need a do not repeat on that?
It's actually automatic.
Okay,
Because once you have the first finding, all the subsequent ones become repeat violations.
and we're waiving cost of prosecution, right?
You just don't have yes.
Right, if it's not included in the motion, then there's no cost.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We do roll call.
Roll call for this.
Member Perlman,
Yes.
member La Sarsa,
Yes.
member Axelrod,
Yes.
member Murray,
Yes.
chairperson Schlam,
Yes,
motion carries.
okay. Well, now we just have public hearings closed. Read town attorney break. Okay, announcements. April 13th, 9:30 AM, planning board, regular meeting. April 18th at 1:30 PM, town commission meeting. April 26th at 11:30 AM, financial advisory board, regular meeting. And May 2nd at 1:30 PM is a town commission meeting. People need to check and find out where they're gonna be holding these meetings, because it might be the library. I don't know if it's gonna be here. And I don't know about our next meeting. I guess someone, Mrs. DeHart, we have a neat meeting for May 9th is our next meeting. May 9th. Okay, let me make sure I have that. Who's not gonna be here?
Me. I won't be here either.
That's May 9th. 1 PM. And at this time, it is 1:40 and the meeting is adjourned.